Okay, so hopefully there is sound. Thank you to my one follower slash subscriber for alerting me to the sound issue. But let me tell you, one subscriber watcher, that I would ask in the future to be more direct. You know, that's part of probably the process of some of all of our issues is to be direct in what you're saying and communicating. I there was like a little live chat which I don't know how to do and do this at the same time that alerted me that there was this person wrote in and say you have sound issues. So I was like, okay, I'm thinking while I'm doing this, I have sound issues. Um, Sound issues can be anything. They could be crackles in the sound, but what the problem was with my video, and I went on for 17 minutes, and I was informed early on, is that there was no sound. You know, that's being direct. You have no sound. Anyway, I apologize for that. No sound, and I can't remember what I may have said. And this is bedhead. I stay in my pajamas all day unless I have to go out and work. I don't know where I was with in those 17 minutes what I may have said. If I was able to get back to it in time, I probably would have said some, would have remembered, but I think I remember some elements. And I did try to watch through that 9 minutes of that last video. Jeez, my hair, it's so funny. At least I have hair. Just like, well, for men, the George Carlin joke. Ask any bald man if they wouldn't want a full head of gray hair. Well, I do have gray hair, but I dye it. So anyway, I was talking about the shell of, the idea of, it's interesting how they say walking on eggshells, but my experience with my partner is that uh, he is a shell with no interior, so it's easily breakable. And what I mean by no interior is no interior to and as you can see, I'm not as affected today, because usually when I do these videos, I'm like, so like an emotional bomb has been dropped on me, because there is love there, and when there is love, there is frustration, and uh, when there's love there, and the inability to transmit this love from both ends, there is frustration and just, I call it soul death, um, which is emotional and can actually lead to sickness. Like they say that people that are in a BPD relationship to that are non-BPD and are in a relationship with somebody that has it, um, that one must take care of themselves emotionally and have another separate life from the person, which I would say most of my life I did not do, because the excitement from this person to be with the excitement of the non-BPD, in my experience, to be with the excitement of the BPD, in my experience, to be with the non-BPD is one that is so engaging that, okay, come along, do everything with me. Um, and that's part of that interior work that continues to not be done, to spend the time alone and mining their own emotions without distraction, which could be tasks, which could be work. Distraction can be anything. Uh, but this can go along with ADD or ADHD, which I think my spouse may or may not have. He was diagnosed with that prior to BPD, but it's like, if you go to a specialist that does just ADD and ADHD work, that's what they're looking for. They're going to probably diagnose you with that. What are they going to say? No, you don't have it. So they're not looking for BPD at the time, and BPDers are excellent covert operation people. So they don't disclose exactly everything that's going on, and they might not appear to be having an interpersonal um, difficulty, which then allows the symptoms to make themselves present. Um, that's why therapists have to really like get under their skin to see if these traits emerge, which is not a happy or comfortable thing to do, but a good therapist would do that. Okay. Um, so there's, like they say, a string of therapists that don't, people that eventually end up with the proper or a BPD diagnosis, which probably is the proper diagnosis. Um, the diagnosis isn't a long time coming because these therapists, you go through a string of ones that are not 100% competent or um, fully aware of what what exactly is going on. But I have to say, if somebody's actually made it to therapy, they've already experienced so many problems in their life and so much adversity that in any aspect of their life, that those things should not be overlooked. I'm really s- come on strong with that, because time is life, and time is money, and time is could be life wasted. Okay. And the worst case scenario is a suicide. So that's time for prevention. Anyway, I wanted going back to the shell idea. The shell, yeah, it's the interior work. It's like this interior work is something that has to be done alone and prodded and prompted. So I was his like inadvertent um therapist, because he wouldn't be going to therapy. I'd be like, what about, push him with this thought and push him with that thought, and it, coming from me, a partner and a spouse, it's like the worst thing. Like, it's like parents not listening to their children. Um, because a child will, no matter how old, will always be a child in that parent's eyes. I've seen people that are like 80 years old with a 60-year-old child, and that person is still treating that child as a child, and the person's like 60 years old. I've seen it, and I'm sure you have too, and everybody else has seen it. It's something that's informative to witness, um, but not definitely not healthy to witness. Sometimes things that you see are not always healthy to see, even though they're informative. Um, anyway, going back to some stuff that I was upset about the other day was that they that the VA hospital had kicked him out of BPD, DBT. I'm like, what the hell is this? Here you have a veteran that needs help. They're very PTSD focused over there, but not BPD. And as I think I may have mentioned, that a lot of these military people that are in the military, that you know most of them, I believe, are running away from a situation at home, and they are not all financially stable, and they go into the military to get some sort of semblance of financial stability, or or running away from home, which is the situation of what my partner was pretty much doing. Not necessarily running away from home like the typical runaway, but just needs to get out of an unhealthy, severely unhealthy family system dynamic. Um, and what else today? Today, I would say, these episodes between my partner and I come and go in waves, but there's no real progression, like I began to say. There is times of just, I would say, peace, and the growth is so small. It's like one positive movement every 4 months. That's like horrible, especially when you're waiting and wanting. he got to a point in the Rachel Ryland book, which he's enjoying, and as long I only care if it like resonates with him on some level and actually brings him to a better place about the idea of the other side of the rainbow. I see the other side of the rainbow. He thinks he sees the other side of the rainbow, but he hasn't. That's the thing with people with a disorder. You only know your own reality, um, and you think you're experiencing uh, all the emotional spectrum of what a life has to offer, but um, but one is not. You know, Emotional connection. That's what it's about. That's why I don't know if I mentioned that interpersonal effectiveness, I think, was the best module within the DBT therapy, because that's what it's about. It's about how effective one is with another person. So if one thinks that they're effective by getting what they want from another person by manipulating them, that's not really true effectiveness, because a good interpersonal interaction is when both parties gain from the interaction. I want something, you want something, and we're going to both benefit, not just one person. So um, I think that's all I have today. Kind of have a headache, and I'm just tired. I have so much to do, self-imposed doing. So um, I don't know. I'm going to sign off. And I make these things too long, and I don't get to my point enough. So that's it for today. I'll probably see you after another terrible emotional disaster that's come upon me, because my skills aren't up. Okay. All right. I'll talk to you later. Yes, I want to end.